Welcome back guys, this is Vishal and you are watching the Forgotten Flutter show. In this part of today's episode, we are going to see the difference between hot reload and hot restart, one of the greatest features of Flutter that makes testing new features and debugging much faster, and it's so much convenient. In the next two parts of this episode, we will have a look at single child and multi-child widgets, so stay tuned for those. Starting with today's episode, let's talk about hot reload. Hot reload works by injecting the updated source code in the running Dart virtual machine and rebuilds the widget tree by preserving the app state. It does not rerun the main function or init state. This lets you to see your changes in the output without having to recompile your entire code or restart the application. You can add methods and fields to existing classes, change existing functions, or add new classes altogether, and you will see all your changes in the output in a fraction of a second. This is super cool feature that saves you a ton of time when adding features or when debugging. If you are not familiar with classes, methods, and functions, you don't have to worry about them at all right now. We will have a dedicated video to explain each of these. You don't need to know about these just yet. Let's go to Android Studio and see that in action. Alright, we have the starter application again for this demonstration. For performing a hot restart, you will have to use this yellow button that looks like a thunderbolt. It also has a shortcut if you hover over it, that is Ctrl plus forward slash. Now I will increment this counter a little bit. Okay, 4 will be enough. Note that we are at 4. Now let's try to change the blue color to something like red. For that, I will come back to my code. I will switch the primary swatch to colors dot red, and that will change the color of the app bar and the floating action button to red, and rest is just fine. Now let's click the hot reload button, and now we can see that, and as you can see, we were able to change the color from blue to red, but the counter is still at 4. This means that during reload, the app state was preserved. So what actually happens behind the scenes? When the code is injected in the Dart VM, the part of the tree that has been modified or removed is marked as dirty, and in the next frame when the widget tree is rebuilt, the dirty elements are removed or replaced with the modified ones, and the tree is clean once again. Hot reload does not affect any other module in the widget tree. Alright, now that we have talked about hot reload, let's talk about hot restart. Now there are a few types of changes that cannot be hot reloaded. These include global variable initializers, static field initializers, the main method of the application, and the classes or variables declared as constants. For that, you need something called as hot restart. Hot restart loads code changes in the VM just like hot reload, but unlike hot reload, it restarts the application and loses the app state. Remember, when we were developing our awesome application in episode 2, we had to hot restart because we were making all the changes in the main function. If you haven't seen that one or you don't remember, you can go back to it right from here. You can hot restart your application without having to end current debug session by clicking on the run button if you are in a run session or the debug button if you are in a debug session without stopping the application. They also have shortcuts if you hover your mouse over them. Just like the run button here has the shortcut Shift plus F10. So it is highly recommended that you know some basic shortcuts while navigating your way in Android Studio. I will leave a link in the description for the shortcuts that you can use in Android Studio. Now let's see hot restart in action. Okay, so we have our application running over here and notice that we have the counter on 4. Let's do nothing but hot restart our application using the run button over here. And we can see that the counter has been reset to 0, which means the state was not preserved. Everything has been started from scratch. Now let's make some changes. Let's see that again. I will again increment this counter till 6 and I will again change the color to, let's say, purple, and I will change the title of this page to, let's say, counter. Now instead of hot reloading, let's hot restart. And you can see our changes were applied but the counter again lost its count. Hot restart is still faster than a full restart, which will take much longer as it also compiles the native files like the Java or Kotlin files for Android or the Objective-C or Swift for iOS, or restart the Dart development compiler in case of web. So hot restart lies somewhere between hot reload and full restart in terms of time taken. There are a few cases where even hot restart is not going to work, and in that case you need to use the full restart. For example, it will happen when you modify the native files in the Android or iOS folder. Anyways, thanks for watching, and in the next part of this episode we are going to see some single child widgets which we are going to use a lot in Flutter. So subscribe to the Forgotten Programmer and stay tuned for more episodes. Keep coding folks, and I will see you in the next part.